Hello, I'm Micks Mowers and Mower Man, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be quickly talking about why is your air compressor tripping out your circuit board. 9 times out of 10, it's quite a simple reason, and I've experienced this myself just the other week, so I wanted just to share it with you. Now, I am under no way, shape or form a professional, despite it says professional on my air compressor. I'm not a professional. But if you just bought yourself an air compressor, want to put it in your shed or in your garage, and every time you turn it on, it doesn't power up or it trips the circuit board out, then this could be the quick little video for you. If this is your first time in watching Micks Mowers and Mower Man, hit the old subscribe button, not whack the old bell. That way you'll be told next time I upload a video. So without further ado, let's get down and dirty. Let's quickly investigate the reason why your air compressor may be tripping your board out. Do you want your ball? Take your ball. Good dog. Right, so here is my air compressor, brand spanking new. It says professional on the cylinder. I'm not professional, but I bought this because my old air compressor, it failed. I had it, it's on a 2-year warranty, same as this one is, and within about 14 months, 12 months, something like that, it broke down and it wouldn't compress the air. SGS got hold of me and said, can you take the top off of it, just 4 screws, take some photographs, and when I took the top off, I found two loose nuts. I did them up, put a bit of PCFE tape around them, fixed it, happy. 2 months later, it stopped holding pressure again, and I had a rattling noise, so I took the top off again, and the actual bolt that held the motor on had snapped. So I rang up SGS and said, look, it's happened again, or something's happened, can you sort it out for me? And they said, yeah, we'll bring it in, or I've got to post it to them. So if you're outside of 6 months, you have to send it to them at your cost, which I wasn't very happy about, but there you go, that's what it is. Send it back, and they said they can't cover it under warranty. So basically, we send you a brand new replacement product. But I said, well, rather than having that direct drive one, upright one, 50 litre, I'll upgrade, £200 extra on top, and I'll buy the vertical belt-driven oil one. That's what I wanted. So, however, I had my Sparky turn up just the other day to fit a new consumer board in because I'm having a new kitchen fitted, and the company that's fitting said they won't fit the new cooker and what have you and hob until that's done. So I had that done, but I said to my Chippy, I said my Sparky, can you look at my compressor for me? Because he fitted all his electrics in here. I didn't. He did all this. Apart from I did the plugs, I think. So I'm divulging, but he said have a look at it, and we'll go from there. So this here compressor, this requires 13 amps to power this machine. Now in my board, I've got a 16 amp breaker in there, RCD. Now that will tell you I've got a couple of amps to play with to power this compressor, and that should be enough. The problem is that on initial start up, the capacitor kicks in and the motor kicks in. It's all going together, and it's probably drawing around about 18 amps in there, and it wants just a little bit more. So what he says he's going to do is he's going to put let me show you what I've got in there. I've got a 16 amp one in here, which is actually, so he fitted all this. So I've got the main breaker, and I've got a B16 and a B6. So the B6 is for my lights, and the B16 is for my sockets, right? So there's enough in there, and it's all above board as it should be. It's all done proper, and it's separately fused up in the house as well. So it's all above board. It's not just a Micks Mowers special. So he's now going to put in there, and this is where I'm trying to advise you guys and girls where to go with it. If you've got an air compressor, you just have to be a bit conscious of what it's pulling and the CFM, okay? You can't just whack a compressor in your shed and turn it on. It doesn't work like that. You need to do a little bit of homework first. So I had a 50 litre at around and about 7.5 CFM. This one is a 90 litre at around about, I think it's 14 CFM, 14.5 CFM. In fact, it'll probably even tell me on there. It's going to be, yeah, 14 CFM, okay, which is a 10 bar compressor. So, so when I plugged it all in, he said, because it's blowing it, my cable that he installed for me is powerful enough to take up to 20 amps, no problem, it'll take that. So he's going to put a Type C 20 amp Type C RCD breaker in there. Now what that's going to do is it's going to give me more amps, definitely, and because it's a Type C, it just holds on that little bit longer before it trips out, so that it gets over the initial shock of starting. Once it's got over the initial shock of starting, the RPM and what's drawing will drop down. It's just that initial fire up. So if you find that your air compressor is tripping out every single time, it could be two things. You actually have a direct short with your air compressor or with your electrics, in which case, if you're not qualified, get someone in, right? Just have a look at it. You can go on Facebook and just say, any qualified electricians out there who are insured and certified, to have a look at it and do that. If you find the fault, you got a mouse tube through your cable and you can repair that, then yeah, that's up to you on your own back, right? But I'm not bad at electrics, but I don't do the bigger stuff, so I want it certified. Or the second thing is, if you know there's no fault with the machine and it's still tripping your circuit breaker out either in your house or in your workshop, and it should be tripping out here first. If it blows at the other end, where it's fed from, then you've got a serious problem with the cable somewhere, is what I would say. So if you're not sure, get over Sparky, but you may want to just try to see if the Sparky will put a Type C 20 amp one in there, depending on what you're running. If you've got a 25 litre, you may not even need it. 16 amp may be fine, right? But if you find it is tripping out, then see if your Sparky will put a 20 amp Type C one in. And if he does, and he agrees to that, and it's all safe and above board and legal, and he'll pass it all off, then you'll be up and running again. You won't have to send your compressor back. So if you want to upgrade your compressor, a little bit of homework may be needed first. You may want to ring your electrician first before you do it. Otherwise, you'll have a brand new compressor turn up and you won't be able to use it. A bit like me at the moment, but my bloke's coming in about 2 hours, so I should be lucky. So once he's fitted the new breaker in there, I'll come back and we'll show it working. But at the moment, literally, if I plug it in, I'll show you. Just so we're not dollying it all up, like, you know. Let me plug that in. Excuse me, armpit. Turn it on. So that's now turned on. Brake is turned on as well. Yeah. So now you've watched the flywheel here. I'll pull this knob out here. This is just turn and stop. Ready? Watch. Ready? Boom. All my lights have gone out. All my sockets have. I'll turn the breaker back off. Put that back on. Lights will come back on. So I know for a fact that that's drawing too much. Okay. So when he comes down to fit it all, we get sorted out, put the new breaker in, or he's going to put an independent, because there's enough room in this box, he might even put a 20 amp RCD in and just run its separate socket. So I've got a 20 amp socket just for the air compressor that isn't running off of the ring main, off of the other sockets too. We have discussed that already. So he'll do one or the other, depending on what he thinks will be simplest and best for me, and then we'll go from there. So I'll come back a bit later on once he's fitted it and we'll go from there. So see you in a tick. Right, so it's the next day and my Sparky he's been and gone. He was here for 15 minutes, literally. So just to reiterate of what's actually been done, let me take you off the old tripod. Okay. So I have my air compressor plugged on up the socket. Let's just turn that on. Boom, that's now on. So he turned up yesterday and he put an additional breaker in. So now we have the C32 breaker in there. We've got the B16, the B6. So B6 is my lights. B16 was my sockets. It's now my sockets and my compressor on one on the C32. So it's a slower tripping breaker. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to revert to put my sockets back on the 16 breaker and then put an additional plug down here somewhere, which would be just for my air compressor alone. But now this air compressor was tripping out my switchboard only in the shed. It wasn't tripping the house one out, which is connected. And my cable goes all the way up to the house. Okay, so it's a long old way to go, but it was tripping it out. So if your one was tripping it out as well, because you've upgraded, make sure your electrics is right. If you're not sure, get a Sparky in, just to give you the advice you may need. Okay, but once that's now done, has that turned on at wall, Mick? Yes, it is. So now we should be able to fire. Nothing's in the way. Fire that up. So pull this little tiny knob at the top, and away she goes. Super happy. And it's done. I've had it running sort of 2 or 3 complete full cycles. Fill it, drain it, fill it, drain it, fill it, drain it. No problems at all. Doesn't blow the breakers. Happy. So the answer is very, very simple. If it keeps blowing the breakers, it's because probably your circuit board is not up to it, and you may require a C32, or dependent on what compressor you're trying to run. This is a 90 litre 14 CFM belt driven oiled compressor, so it is quite a big boy. This isn't like your 25 litre one. It is you know, it's a good medium sized one. So if it keeps blowing them out, you know what to do. Okay, so I hope that video helped you out. So if your just to recap, if you buy an air compressor and you plug it into your shed or whatever, then you may experience problems. You may have a socket outside on the side of your house that you can run your air compressor off, and that may be fine because the breaker will be different. However, if it is blowing the breaker on the house as well, you may want to get someone in just to double check what it's actually pulling. This was pulling, was it 12 or 13? Let me double check. This was pulling at 13 amps. So that's 13 amps in normal running. That's not 13 amps on initial startup. It's probably pulling around about 16, and that's why it was breaking or tripping that initial breaker. So by putting the C-type breaker on it as well, that just delays the tripping time just for hundredths of a second, and just allows the initial shock for that breaker to stay in and then run the machine. Don't be worried, because if it is overpowered, it'll just blow the breaker. It's as simple as that, and my cable's going to have to take it. Rule number 1, golden rule number 1, is you never run an air compressor off extension leads. Just don't do it. It's just not worth doing. Okay, it's not good. So if you're not sure, then get hold of a local, fully qualified, vetted electrician and get them to have a look at it. That's what I did. My normal electrician, who's just done my consumer unit up in the house and whatever, he's really good and he's really, really reasonable. Go onto Facebook Marketplace, have a look on there, and get someone to come down, have a look at it, and give you the advice that you need, and you'll be golden. So hopefully that little video may have helped you out. If it did, give us a big thumbs up, hit the old subscribe button, whack the old bell, set notifications to all. That way you'll be told next time I upload another video. I look forward to seeing this episode of Micks Mowers very, very soon. But until then, guys and girls, much more importantly, take it easy.